So I'm sure you know the feeling of pulling up to a gas station and watching half of your paycheck go into the gas tank of your car. Yeah, it's not fun. But what if you had a 400-ton Boeing 747? Spoiler, it's not cheap. Fuel is by far one of the biggest costs for airlines, so let's see how much it actually costs. Today we're going to look at how much it costs to fuel an A320, a 787, and finally a 747. So there's a few factors that we need to consider when determining how expensive it is to fuel a jet. 1, how much does the fuel cost? 2, how much fuel does the jet hold? And actually, that's kind of it. Another thing is that the cost of fuel is always changing, so it's kind of hard to figure out specifically how much it costs to fuel a jet. So we're just going to use the fuel prices for this week. Alright, so we're here on the IATA website. So here we're looking at the jet fuel price monitor. Alright, so this is the price of gas over the last few years, and it looks like it was pretty stable until recently some world events kind of happened. So yeah, jet fuel is quite pricey. Alright, so if we scroll up here, it shows us the average jet fuel price. And so if we look at the average price around the world, it looks like it was about $149.40 per barrel. And of course, this is in US dollars. You can also see the average price around the world, but we're just going to use the global average. Another thing is that a barrel of fuel is about 42 gallons. Alright, so I found this document from Airbus, and it goes through all the specs of the A320. So the A320 is one of the best-selling narrow bodies in the world. If you've ever flown on an airplane, there's a pretty good chance that you've probably flown on an A320. So I want to go down, and we're going to look at the specs for the A320neo. The A320neo is the newest version of the A320. And if we look down here, it says the maximum total aircraft fuel for the A320neo is about 23,700, oh, sorry, that's liters. And here it says it's about 6,271 US gallons. So let's do a little bit of math. So the A320 holds 6,271 gallons, and then we're going to divide that by 42 because that's how many gallons are in a barrel of fuel, and so that is about 149.3 barrels of fuel. Again, a barrel of fuel is about $149.40, so we'll multiply this by 149.40, and that gives us about $22,306.84 to fill up an A320. So yeah, that's a crazy amount of money. But trust me, it gets a lot crazier, especially with the 747. So the next plane I want to look at is the Boeing 787, and we're going to look at the 787-9 because that is the most popular model. So the 787 is more of a mid-sized airplane. It is a wide body and it is pretty big. Alright, so here we are. This is a document from Boeing and it shows the characteristics of the 787-9. So if we look here at the bottom, it says the usable fuel for the 787-9 in US gallons is 33,399 gallons. So again, let's go back to the calculator.
Back to the calculator, and it says 33,399 gallons of fuel. Again, we'll divide that by 42 to show how many barrels of fuel.
So that is about 795 barrels of fuel.
And so, again, let's go ahead and multiply this by 149.40. So 149.40.
Alright, so to fill up a 787 is significantly more expensive than filling up an A320. $118,805. Dude, that's like literally so much money. Holy crap. So now I'm really curious to see what the 747 is. So I wasn't able to find any statistics on the 747-8, which is the newest 747 model, but I did find some stats on the 747-400. So I've heard the 747-8 can carry about 63,000 gallons of fuel, but I wasn't able to find that for sure, and I really just want to go by the facts. So again, I'm here looking at a document from Boeing, and it's showing the characteristics of the 747-400. Again, if we go here at the bottom, the usable capacity for fuel in US gallons is about 53,765 gallons of fuel. Back to our good old friend, the calculator.
So again, the Boeing 747 carries 53,765 gallons, and so again, we'll divide that by 42. Comes out to
1,280 barrels of jet fuel. This is going to be scary. So
let's go ahead and multiply that by 149.40.
And that comes out to a whopping $191,249.78. Alright, so like, I could actually buy a house for that much. That's actually insane. So of course the actual cost that airlines are buying the fuel at depends on where it's being sold and who's selling it. If you're filling up a 747, it's probably going to be somewhere close to $200,000. Safe to say filling up a jet is not cheap. There you go, that's how much it costs to fill up your very own 747. So if you guys like this video and want to see more videos like it, let me know down in the comments. So with that, I hope you guys fly safe, enjoy life, and we'll see you in the next video.